Jago, are you cooking tonight? Are you cooking tonight?
Yes.
You doing good?
Huh?
You doing good?
Yeah. Do you want something specific or something?
I'd like about 10 samosas.
No, but is there a...
The reason I asked is because you look like you're not dressed.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna put it on.
Gauranga Hari Nitai Gaur. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadbhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Muscha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam karoti vachalam bhangam langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurun dinataranam Vancha kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Trishe Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And that I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Siksha Gurudevs. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. And Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupa Anuga Guru Varga. And I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. So we're reading a very interesting part of Srila Gurudev's presentation to all of us in Badger, California, 1999. And he's describing about Radha and Krishna and their praying, and how Radha and Krishna are actually one. Then he begins to talk about how Srimati Radhika is Ladini Shakti, and Ladini means pleasure. She always gives pleasure to Krishna. And her body, what is her body made of? Her body is made of the most elevated Mahabhav. Here, there's a, in parentheses, what is this Mahabhav? It is the very essence of Ladini. Essence of Ladini. And what is Ladini? The transcendental pleasure potency. So all of her organs, her moods, her senses, her hair, eyes, everything about her are made of Mahabhav. Therefore, she is Ladini. We were given the beautiful meditation by Srila Gurudev on Srimati Radhika's beautiful form and her moods. You know that song? Yes. Yes. Nindra Vrindavandite Triloka Shoka Harini Prasanna Vaktra Pankaje Nikunja Bhuvilasani Rajendra Bhanu Nandani Rajendra Sunu Sangate Kada Karishyasi Mama Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam. So how Srila Gurudev gave this to the whole world. That is definitely one of his trademark contributions. We didn't know this song prior to his coming. And also, Namami Nanda Nanda Namami Nanda Nandana Namami Nanda Nandana Namami Nanda. So then Srila Gurudev is talking about the other gopis. And he says regarding the other gopis, they are actually Kaya Vyuha. They are bodily manifestations of Srimati Radhika. And therefore, they are also one with Krishna, because this point has to be understood. Radha and Krishna are one, but they become two for pastimes. So the gopis are in that same category. He said, you cannot imagine how they are one with him and how they are different from him. Their love is Mahabhav. And to have some idea of this, so let us begin from Bhav, or Rati. So now in a progressive way he's explaining. How can one comprehend Mahabhav? You have to start from the most basic element of Mahabhav. So he says, to have some idea of this, let us begin from Bhav, or Rati. What is Rati? When by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, we cross sadhana bhakti, devotional practice, and then we come to the border of Bhav Bhakti. So we perform sadhana bhakti only to achieve Bhav. If we do so, if we do this, do what? Practice sadhana bhakti only in order to achieve Bhav. Then it is real sadhana. If someone is chanting, remembering, and practicing all the processes of bhakti, but his objective is not Bhav, and he is not thinking, oh, I want to attain Bhav, then it is not sadhana. What kind of Bhav do we want? Not that of Sridham or Subal, or Nanda, Baba, or Yashodamaya. We want Mahabhav, like that of the gopis. And among the gopis, only the mood of manjaris, such as Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, and Lavanga Manjari. When that mood enters the heart, like an electric current, comparing to an electric current, that mood entering the heart. So, when that mood enters the heart like an electric current, and the mood of the jiva becomes tadatmik, one with that of the gopis, then it is called Bhav Bhakti. There is also something inherent in the soul's heart. And by a combination of both, one's own eternal inherent nature combined with the Hladini and Samvit aspects of Krishna's Swarup Shakti, then Bhav Bhakti manifests. That's why there has to be on the platform of Sandini Shakti. Because on that platform of Sandini Shakti is where the jiva, his inherent nature, his attachment and attraction to attaining a certain relationship with Krishna, his sthai bhav, must be there. For Bhav Bhakti to manifest. So in the mature stage, in the mature stage of Bhav comes Swarup Siddhi. What comes in the mature stage of Bhav? What type of Siddhi? Swarup. Swarup Siddhi. What is that? What is Swarup Siddhi? The perfection of one's constitutional position. That is called Siddhi. Perfection. Of what? Your Swarup. Your Swarup means your constitutional position.
In Swarup City, they're still in their body, but they're not.
Yes. And after Swarup Siddhi, then what comes? Vastu Siddhi. the spiritual body manifests. It cannot happen any other way. First, there must be Bhav and Swarup Siddhi. Then Vastu Siddhi can manifest. Vastu Siddhi means you're eternally perfected spiritual form in Krishna Lila. Not here, not internally only, but actually you've attained. At that time, which time? Vastu Siddhi. At that time, you will totally give up this body and you will take birth from the womb of a gopi. You will have to continue your practice in Braj that is manifested in this world. In that body, then praying transcendental love, it will come. Praying will come in that body. But it will not come in this present body. This body cannot withstand praying. If it were to come at once, you would die. Or rather, this body would die. If praying were to enter this body, it would burn at once. You can never have praying in this body. For that praying, the Shuddha Sattva body is essential. Although there may be many causes for that praying to go away, it never does. Now Gurudev is quoting Ujjvala Nilamani, which is describing how can one know that this is actually praying. And one can know that even if there are many causes for the praying to go away, but it does not, then it is actually praying. So this verse is Sarvata Dvamsha Rahitam Satyapi Dvamsha Karane Yad Bhava Bandhanam Yuno Saprema Parikirtita. Saprema Parikirtita means this is known as prema.
Dr. Swami uses the example of the rubber band.
Rubber band?
You can stretch it and stretch it and stretch it and then
Okay. Now Gurudev is explaining this. This means that true love does not break even when there is sufficient cause. Instead of breaking, it becomes unlimitedly more new and fresh. This is called praying. Do we find that in the material world? The love of this world? That it's unbreakable, no possible cause can break it? No, we cannot find it. Yeah.
I was wondering about where, I was reading something in the Gurudev today, and he was explaining below Vrindavan and Gokul Vrindavan and where prema actually starts, and he was saying that prema starts in Dwarka, but not in Vaikuntha. So I was just wondering, what if we were to talk about the prema of Hanuman, or is it just that there are variations of prema, and this kind of prema is the full capacity, that full prema only in Vrindavan is the Braj gopis. But would you say that Hanuman has prema and these other devotees of Krishna in other incarnations also have?
So what's the question?
I guess you say prema starts in Dwarka, but would you say that
Sorry, I can't hear. There's so much noise coming. Give her the mic.
I was just wondering, I was reading something today where Gurudev was saying that praying starts in Dwarka, and that before that in Vaikuntha there's not praying. So I was wondering, with devotees like Hanuman and others, do we also call that praying?
Well, the word praying, there is praying. It's called Vaikuntha praying. Yeah. But it's a certain context. in which Gurudev is telling this, because he's speaking about this highest prema. No, it cannot be there. Not even a semblance of that can be there. I think that's the main point. And what is the question, though?
Is there prema in Hanuman and the devotees of the other incarnations of Krishna?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, this subject matter of the 5 levels of bhaktas, which Srila Gurudev has described quite a number of times, and it's coming from Brihad Bhagavatamrita of Sri Sanatana Goswami. So, there are different levels of bhakti, different levels of prema, and even the Dwarkavasis, like, for example, Uddhava and the Pandavas, those are the final 2 levels of prema that are being described, right? Because they have complete absorption in prema. They have attained that. But the example being given of when Uddhava, who holds the highest post in that realm of the 5 levels of bhaktas, when he comes to Braja and he stays with the Braja Gopis, with Srimati Radhika, witnesses their prema, then he feels that he's absolutely nothing in comparison. Always Gurudev gave the example, standing next to Himalayan mountain. So,
do the wives of Krishna have prema?
yes, but these are, you know, there's different terminologies. I can't remember them right now. But they're just like Kubja. Kubja is also considered to have a type of prema, but what type is it? I forget the actual Sanskrit terms, you know. So, but when we come to the prema of the Brajvasis, then we actually see what is prema. Because Lord Brahma, he witnessed, and he wanted to also just take birth as even a stone in Braj. Why? So that those who are the cleaners, the sweepers and the cleaners, when they rub their feet to clean their feet with a stone, then he wants to be that stone, you see. So he's seeing all the Brajvasis as being millions of times greater than him, you see. So, here, Gurudev is making the point that pure prema, it can never break. Can never, ever break. It's impossible. Impossible. This means that true love does not break even when there is sufficient cause. And how do we know this? Because Mahaprabhu has revealed that in the 8th verse of the Sikh Shastakam, which is actually Srimati Radhika herself expressing how Krishna can do anything. He can make me broken-hearted. He can trample me under his feet. Anything and everything he can do. But he is my Pramanath. My Pramanath. The very Lord of my Pran, my very life force. You cannot separate the life force from the Atma. So what to speak of Srimati Radhika and the Gopis, Kaya Vyuha? So it does not break, but instead of breaking, it becomes unlimitedly more new and fresh. Never becomes old. We've also heard the description of how Srimati Radhika every time, every day in eternity, she sees Krishna and she thinks, I've never seen such a beautiful boy. Right? So this is called prema. It is not like the lust of worldly persons, where after one day 2 days, some days, a man and woman marry. And the next day they get divorced. We claim to have a friendship with someone, to be bosom friends, but if there is any cause for the friendship to break, that friend quickly leaves us and becomes our enemy. I know so many who used to be bosom friends and afterwards became enemies, and also those who used to be enemies who became friends. This is not praying. It is not actually love. I remember how Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj also said that. He said this in relation to coming onto this path where there's no question of backing away. He said, even if the whole world is against you, and they are on one side, and you are alone on the other, you must go on. Then he said, are you ready? Are you ready for friends to become enemies, and enemies to become friends? He's told like that. And we've experienced, everyone experiences. So, this is not praying, it is not actually love. When that pure love touches our hearts, and it becomes very dense, very thick, then our heart melts. Tears come to our eyes, and the many symptoms of Ashtasattvic bhavas, 8 kinds of transcendental transformation, manifest. It is then called sneha. Now he's describing the different stages of praying. And sneha becomes increasingly thick until finally it becomes pranay. Do you know what pranay is? It is when the lover and the beloved become one, when there is no shyness at all, no difference in their thinking. When a person goes to the bathroom, he sees himself naked in the mirror, but he has no shyness. And similarly, in pranay, the lover and beloved are like the same person. Neither has shame. They do not think, for example, oh, this is my form, and what I see in the mirror is my reflection. Rather, one who has this pranay thinks, I myself am the reflection of my beloved. Both lover and beloved are like this. You cannot imagine it, but you can hear about it. So after this, after pranay, so what's the first stage? Prem, then? Sneha, then? Pranay. So after this, then man comes. The beloved thinks, if I do man, if I enter a sulky mood, my lover will certainly come and pacify me. So in this stage, pranay has become man. Krishna has to come to pacify his beloved. If he does not, he will never be able to meet her. Now after this, rag develops. So what's the stages now? Prem, sneha, pranay, man. Then after? Rag. So after this, after man, rag develops. And then after that, anurag, which is nitya naveen, ever fresh. when at that time the beloved sees Krishna, or Krishna sees his beloved, they think their meeting each other is new. The beloved thinks, oh, I have never seen Krishna before. Who is that black person? When anurag reaches its highest stage, it is called Mahabhav. So, Prem, Sneha, Pranay, Man, Rag, Anurag, Mahabhav. But actually there's Bhav and then Mahabhav. He just hasn't said that. So, when Anurag reaches its highest stage, it is called Mahabhav. This has been described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Only if we come to this stage can we realize something of the love of Radha and Krishna and understand who Radha is and who Krishna is. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Ki Jai. Still, I am giving some glimpse, a shadow of a glimpse. I am not a realized person, but I am always thinking and thinking of this. So I am giving some idea. What is Mahabhav? When Radha and Krishna meet together, they forget themselves. They do not know who they themselves are and who each other is. Only ecstatic love exists. And that love controls them both. Krishna does not know who he is. Krishna does not know that he is Krishna, and Srimati Radhika does not know she is Radhika. This mood, Mahabhav, is particularly heightened in Radhika, even more so than in Krishna. And Krishna is the object of love, but Radhika is the reservoir or the abode of love. So there's a footnote here. This is explained in Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj's translation of and commentary on Sri Rai Ramananda Samvad, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 8, verse 193. So here's the verse, the Sanskrit that he's quoting from that Rai Ramananda Samvad. And then there's an explanation here. Pahilehi raga nayana bange bhela anudina badhala avadhi na gela na so ramana na hama ramani duhu man manobhava peshala jani. It is Sri Radha's desire to give happiness to Sri Krishna continuously. And Sri Krishna desires to do the same for Sri Radha. Neither Sri Krishna, the lover par excellence, nor Sri Radha, the preeminent beloved, is the cause of this spontaneous attraction. But it awakens just from seeing each other, and it turns into Cupid, who, grinding or melting their minds together, makes them one. Like a grinding mortar, how they grind the spices and everything. Their hearts and minds, desiring only to give happiness to one another, become non-different from each other. And at that time, they become obsessed with a desire to engage in loving pastimes, and they forget all else except meeting together. In essence, at that time, Sri Krishna forgets that he is a hero or a lover, and Sri Radha also loses the feeling that she is a heroine or a beloved. Say, Saha Prem Kahani. These are all the topics of praying. So this quote, it continues from Chaitanya Charitamrita. E Saki se sab prem kahani, kanu thame kahabi virachala jani. No, vichurala jani. Na kon jahan duti, na kon jahu an, dunhu keri milane madhya to panchaban. Ab sohi viraga tuhu beli duti, su puruka premaki aichan ariti. Alas, before we met, there was an initial attachment between us, brought about by an exchange of glances. In this way, attachment evolved. That attachment has gradually grown, and there is no limit to it. Now, that attachment has become a natural sequence between ourselves. It is not that it is due to Krishna, the enjoyer, nor is it due to me, for I am the enjoyed. It is not like that. This attachment was made possible by mutual meeting, and this mutual exchange of attraction is known as Mahabhav, or Cupid. Krishna's mind and my mind have merged together. Now, during this time of separation, it is very difficult to explain these loving affairs. My dear friend, though Krishna might have forgotten all these things, you can understand and bring this message to him. But during our first meeting, there was no messenger between us, nor did I request anyone to see him. Indeed, Cupid's 5 arrows were our via media. And now, during this separation, that attraction has increased to another ecstatic state. My dear friend, please act as a messenger on my behalf, because if one is in love with a beautiful person, this is the consequence. These verses, how Gurudev is quoting this in this context of introducing this topic of Radha and Krishna's praying. This we've read over in Chaitanya Charitamrita when we read the Rai Ramananda Sambad chapter. But how we can really enter and understand is so deep.
Raj, when it says now during this separation, the attraction has increased to another ecstatic state, is that Mahabhav?
Well, yes, this is all describing Mahabhav. So then Gurudev says, there was no messenger to convey our love. Only our eyes were there. High class Rasaraj Mahabhav manifests at that time. This has been described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Gopi Prem, therefore, is not very easily obtained like a rasgulla from Calcutta or Delhi. Many persons here in the West make rasgullas, but they are not like rasgullas from Vrindavan or Calcutta, which are like a sponge saturated in sweet juice and have a very sweet fragrance. Now come with me to Vrindavan. Are we going to come with Gurudev to Vrindavan? Here, he's just invited us. He's saying, now, come with me to Vrindavan, after you heard what you just heard. Now, thinking about all these things, come to Vrindavan, leaving your mortal body here, leaving all kinds of moods, problems, and everything else. Come with me. Let us go to Vrindavan, and then you can realize something. Do not remember anything worldly. Krishna has gone to graze the cows, and the gopis are saying, Shri Gopya Uchu, Akshan Vatam Phalamidam Naparam Vidama, Sakya Pushun Anuviveshayator Vayasyai, Vaktram Vajesha Shutayor Anuvenu Jushtam, Yairva Nipitam Anurakta Kataksha Moksham. This is Venugit chapter 21, verse 7. The cowherd girls said, "O friends, those eyes that see the beautiful face of the son of Maharaj Nanda are certainly fortunate. As these two sons enter the forest, surrounded by their friends, driving the cows before them, they hold their flutes to their mouths, and they glance lovingly upon the residents of Vrindavan. For those who have eyes, we think there is no greater object of vision." Yes. Akshan vatam phalamidam naparam vidama. No greater object, no fruit can be attained greater than this with one's eyes. It was Vasanta Rita, springtime. But in Vrindavan, the flowers of every season were in bloom. The Yamuna was flowing very sweetly, making sounds of kala 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 kala. So many lotus flowers were blooming, their fragrance attracting the bumblebees, who were perhaps saying Radhe, Radhe, Radhe in glorification. All the bumblebees had become mad. Krishna had taken hundreds of thousands of cows to graze, and his friends had also joined him with hundreds and thousands of their own cows. And they played and jumped, and all were calling, Krishna, Krishna Kanaya, Bhaiya Kanaya. There were so many cowherd boys you cannot imagine. Here in this class, there are no more than 300 persons. But if thousands were here, perhaps the devotees would have no place to sit. If Krishna comes here with 900,000 Nanda Baba's cows, and Sri Dhamma comes with 1,100,000 of Vrishabhanu Maharaj's cows, where would they all sit or stand? There would be no room even to stand. Where would they graze, and how could they be controlled? It would be very difficult. But, you know what Guru is going to say now? The Dham is Krishna. Where? Yes. The Dham is Krishna. It is a manifestation of Baladev Prabhu himself. It expands and sometimes it contracts. You know, Gurudev, when he used to tell us this on Parikrama, he would say, like the petal of a lotus, sometimes it goes like this, then sometimes it opens. So Krishna can be anywhere in all the 84 krosas of Braj Mandala, and at the next moment he can be anywhere also. Now at this time the gopis are in their homes. There are many different groups of gopis, and as they remember Krishna, it is like they are actually seeing him. They say, "We know we have eyes, but simply having eyes is not good enough, because with these eyes we have not taken darshan of Krishna." Krishna and Baladev, they are both in the forest, and Baladev is somewhat ahead. Krishna is playing on his flute, his crooked eyes, sidelong glances, searching for something. Many gopis are standing here and there, performing arti of Krishna with their eyes, and he is accepting their arti. Brajesha Sutayar, it means the son of Nanda Baba. The gopis, they say, the eyes of those who have not seen Brajesha Suta going cowherding are useless. A thunderbolt should come and punish those eyes. There is no need of them. Brajesha Sutayor, it has another meaning. Baladev is not the son of Nanda Baba, but he has been supported and nourished by him. And he always thinks, my father is Nanda Baba, not Vasudev or anyone else. And Yashoda is my mother. Brajesha Sutayor, therefore, as explained by Sri Shukadev Goswami, also means the two sons of Nanda Baba, Krishna and Baladev. There is also a deeper meaning. There are two Brajeshas, two masters of Braj. Nanda Baba is one, and superior to him is Vrishabhanu Maharaj. He is also Brajesha. Nanda Baba has one son, Krishna. Vrishabhanu Maharaj has 3 children, 2 daughters and 1 son. Suta, with a line over the last A, Suta, his daughter is Radhika. Here, Sutascha becomes Sutayor according to the rules of Sanskrit grammar. Now the deeper meaning is that the eyes that do not see Brajesha Sutayor, Radha and Krishna, they are useless. What are Radha and Krishna doing? Krishna is playing on his flute, and Baladev has walked ahead to give Krishna a chance to be with the gopis. We see it in that painting. The gopis have surrounded Krishna, and Radhika has met with him. She forcibly takes his flute, Anuvenu Jushtam, and begins to play it. Krishna becomes very attracted and thinks, I cannot play like she can. He therefore looks toward her with a crooked sidelong glance, being very attracted by her playing. Then a Sakhi says, oh, if one has not observed this scene, one's eyes are useless. A thunderbolt should at once come and finish that person's life. I do not want such a life. The explanation of Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is very rasik. He quotes a gopi as saying, oh, let us go to see Krishna. Just now he is in the lane. We should go. Then another Sakhi says, do not speak so loudly. If your mother-in-law hears, she will at once punish you. Do not worry what she will do, the first gopi replies. Her daughter is going there, and my mother-in-law herself is going, so I do not fear. But there is a reason to fear. We should not go to Krishna. Oh, let us go. We will never behold this scene again, and life is very short. If the chance to see Krishna passes us by, we will never get that chance again. So please come. We should go and meet with him. But then the other gopi again, but still, how is it possible to go? And Krishna's sweet voice and face are so beautiful that when you see him, he will attract you, and you will give up your dhairya, your patience. You will give up your pativrata dharma, chastity, and your lajja, your shame. Then you will be desperate and quickly go to him. So let us go. Vaktram vrajeta sutayor, vrajesha sutayor, anuvena jushtam, yadirva nipitam anurakta kataksha moksha. All the gopis were speaking and feeling like this, as shown in many other shlokas, like Purna Pulindya. So that's Gurudev's section in his beginning of his taking us to Vrindavan with him. And the next section, which we'll read tomorrow, is Gopi Geet. Don't miss that. Gopi Geet, and then that will complete this chapter, chapter 4, after that. And then chapter 5, Krishna leaves Vrindavan. This is all leading up to Ratha Yatra. Ratha Yatra is just coming in a few days. And who sang the Gopi Geet to Mahaprabhu? Maharaj Prataparudra came into the garden. So very nice for us to read this before Ratha Yatra Prasanga. So all arranged by Srila Gurudev's mercy. Jai. Secret truths of the Bhagavatam ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Vancha Kalpataru Kripa Sindhu Vaishnavi Namo